Hey guys, Scott Foster Harris here, taking the pro stance, just an annoyance, our performance reviews. Let's hop on the wagon, jumping right into the stance. Performance reviews are nonsense, okay, and I'll begin with this blatantly obvious reason. The two or more participants at times involved, i.e. the management or management team and the employee being reviewed, each have opposing mindsets and agendas, if indeed you can justify using those terms. So often the boss or the manager simply feels obliged to concentrate on where performance needs to be improved. Of course they do. But the employee is usually more focused on whether or not he or she will still have a job after this review, or will they be promoted, or will there be changes in compensation, etc., etc. And this immediately, from the get-go, puts a thorn in the side of the conversation or the review, these opposing agendas. So, Samuel A. Colbert from the Wall Street Journal, that's a rather reputable source, suggests that this very opposition of intentions and agendas causes much more subconscious strife among managers and employees than any possible benefits to be had from the review. This can, and so often does, breed resentment and negativity among the workforce of various companies. And what's even more ridiculous is the fact that studies show via Mr. Josh Bersin at Forbes that both managers and employees alike loathe the process of the performance review, and both feel, listen to this, both feel as though the process does more harm than good. So if you got both sides of the coin looking at something and saying that's bad in every way, there's something to be said for that. It's not one-sided here, management and employees. It's no wonder why so many companies are now completely doing away with the performance review, as many more should follow. Next on this list of so-called ridiculousness is the apparent realization that a manager's objective review and perception is not necessarily objective, rather it's subjective. What do I mean by that? Ask yourselves the question as to whether or not any two managers would come up with the same score when grading an employee on his or her performance. Of course not. They're two different people. The problem is there's no written rule as to how the test should be graded. There's only a very subjective perception of objectivity in this, if that makes sense. The person's score depends on many factors, and it could change from day to day. The manager's state of mind, whether or not they have agreeable personalities, etc., etc. The actual performance itself is affected by these factors, and so many more that have absolutely nothing to do with the employee's performance, and the employees know this. They're aware of this subjectivity, and of course they resent the reviewing process for these reasons. It really hurts morale, and morale is a key factor in a successful working environment. The adverse effects, so to speak, of morale on the employees is a key reason why so many firms' management are doing away with the performance process, as I stated before, as they should. Another big problem with the performance review is the fact that employees come in all different shapes and sizes, figuratively speaking, not necessarily literally. Smiley face. They each have attributes, they each have weaknesses, and it is impossible to objectively review each and every one based on opinions and facts. Opinions are subject to the reviewer's states of mind or personal preferences. And at the same time, an employee's contribution to a workplace is not always necessarily in the form of countable merits. Even Albert Einstein himself said that not all countable things need to be counted in various situations. Especially in a situation where there's so much objectivity and where there's no clear-cut system by which something is graded. The performance review puts the boss and his or her employees at odds with one another when it comes to teamwork. The manager-employee relationship should be the go-to relationship in terms of working together. Yet, now, research shows, for fear of negative reviews, employees prefer to guess or to seek help from other employees who may or may not be guessing as well, instead of going to the manager. That's crazy. the relationship between manager and employee suffers greater and greater distances and barriers. Wall Street's journal suggests a better approach would be for a multifaceted review. Management reviews employees, employees review employees, and employees review management. There it is, guys. Scott Foster Harris, I'm out.